Good morning, dear students. We are discussing the chapter alkenes. In the last video, we have studied about the nomenclature, the general introduction, classification of amines, and isomerism in alkenes. So there are two types of isomerism: structural isomerism and geometrical isomerism. Next topic is the relative stabilities of alkenes. Now the relative stabilities of alkenes, it is determined on the basis of heat of hydrogenation. What is heat of hydrogenation? Heat of hydrogenation of an unsaturated compound is the quantity of heat evolved when 1 mole of the compound is completely hydrogenated. So in alkene, this value is nearly about 125 kilojoule, but it may vary from one member to the another member of alkenes. Now, if we compare the heat of hydrogenation of trans 2-butene and cis 2-butene, the heat of hydrogenation for this alkene is 115.4 kilojoule, and for cis butene it is 119.6 kilojoule, and each of these will require only 1 mole of hydrogen to get hydrogenated, and the product is same, that is N-butene. So in this case, what we are saying that trans alkene have 4 kilojoule energy less than the cis alkene. This means trans 2-butene have a lesser 4 kilojoule lesser energy as compared to cis butene. That means it is more stable. So in case of alkene, the member having lesser heat of hydrogenation will be more stable. So this is about the relative stabilities of alkenes. We have two conclusions from the relative stability of alkene. The first one is that a trans alkene is more stable than cis alkene, because if we compare in this trans alkene, like we have this trans butene 2-butene and cis 2-butene, we are saying that in case of trans alkene, both the bulk groups are opposite to each other. That means less steric hindrance, so it is more stable. Whereas in case of cis isomer, the bulky groups are present to this on the same side. That is why it is more hindrance and it is less stable. Second conclusion is what? The second conclusion is that more the number of alkyl group attached to the double bonded alkyl groups attached to the doubly bonded carbon atoms, more is the stability. Again, we are taking the example of butene. For example, if we have CH3 CH double bond CH3 and 1-butene CH3 CH2 double bond CH3. So this is 2-butene and it is 1-butene. So if we compare in this The rule is more the number of alkyl group around the doubly bonded carbon atom, more is the stability. So that means 2-butene is more stable as compared to 1-butene. The reason is that in case of 2-butene, there are two alkyl groups, this and this alkyl groups, which are attached to this doubly bonded carbon atoms, and there are 6 alpha hydrogens. That means more hyperconjugative interactions. Conjugative interactions. That means extensive delocalization. Here, the extensive delocalization. So it is more stable. In case of 1-butene, we have only CH2. In case of this, we have only one alkyl group attached to the doubly bonded carbon atom. That means only 2 alpha hydrogens, means lesser hyperconjugative interaction, hyperconjugation, and means lesser stability. So we have two conclusions from the relative stabilities of alkene. The first one is the less hindered alkene is more stable as compared to the more hindered alkene, and the second is more the number of alkyl group around the doubly bonded carbon atoms, more is the stability. So the order is, if we have writing the in alkenes like R2C double bond CR2, in which both the carbon atoms around the double bond are alkylated, it is more stable as compared to this CHR, which is again more stable. Or it can be written as RCH double bond CHR, it is more stable as compared to RCH double bond CH2, and which is again more stable than the alkene RCH2 double bond CH2. So this is the order of the stability of alkenes. Next topic we have to study is the general methods of preparations of alkenes. Now, so there are 5 methods. The first method is dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halides. The second method is dehydration of alcohols. The third method is dehalogenation of vicinal dihalides. The fourth method is controlled reduction of alkynes. The fifth method is pyrolysis of quaternary ammonium hydride, and it is called Hofmann elimination. So there are 5 methods. Firstly, we will study about the first, that is the dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halides. Now the lower number of alkenes, they can be easily prepared by cracking the higher fractions of the petroleum followed by the fractional distillation, and there are some laboratory methods also which are used to form the alkene in its purest form. The first method under this method of preparation is the dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halide. Now this reaction involves the removal of the removal of a hydrogen atom and a halogen atom from the alkyl halide. For example, we are taking a general molecule in like this. In this, the alkyl halide is treated with alcoholic potash. This is alcoholic potash. The resulting product is an alkene. Next, if we are taking an example like ethyl chloride, CH3 CH2Cl plus alcoholic potassium hydroxide, then we will get ethylene plus potassium chloride plus water. Similarly, if we are taking isopropyl, CH3 CHI CH3, that is, it is isopropyl iodide, on reaction with alcoholic KOH, we will get the propylene, CH3 CH double bond CH2 plus potassium iodide plus water. This is propylene. Now we have to study about its mechanism. Mechanism of the dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halide. Dehydrohalogenation means there is a removal of hydrogen as well as halogen from the alkyl halide. Now what is the mechanism? In the mechanism, the base will extract any base, like here the base is hydroxide ion, alcoholic hydroxide ion. The base will abstract the hydrogen atom from the alkyl halide to form a BH bond, and this carbon atom is the beta carbon atom. That means the base will abstract the beta hydrogen from the carbon atom, and at the same time the halogen atom will eliminate with its bond pair of electrons. And it is the halide ion. That means the base will abstract the proton from the beta carbon atom. The bond pair here, the bond pair of the CH bond will form the double bond between the carbon-carbon atom, and then the halide ion along with its bonding pair will remove from this alkyl halide. Now, the dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halide, dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halide, it involves the removal of trans elements. That means here the hydrogen and the halogen which are trans to each other, they get eliminated. So the removal of hydrogen and halogens which are situated trans to each other, they will be eliminated from the alkyl halide. Now the energy which is required for the cleavage of CH bond and CX bond, it comes from three factors. The first one is the formation of bond between the base ion and abstracted hydrogen ion. Second, it comes from the formation of carbon-carbon double bond, and thirdly, it comes from the solvation of halide ion. Because solvation of halide ion also produces a considerable amount of energy, and that energy considerable energy. So these are the three factors which will lead to the breakage of the CH bond and the CX bond. Next is that this mechanism is an E2 mechanism. E2 mechanism, that means here E stands for elimination and 2 stands for bimolecular. That means it is a single step bimolecular elimination process. That means it is not a stepwise. This method will not follow the stepwise manner, but it is a concerted mechanism. Now it is a single step bimolecular elimination process. That means the rate of this reaction, it will depend upon the concentration of alkyl halide as well as the concentration of hydroxide ion. That means it is a second order reaction. Next is the orientation. Next is the orientation of dehydrohalogenation and the ease of formation of alkene. Ease of formation of alkene, or it is also known as by regiochemistry. Now, there are several higher alkyl halides in which the elimination of hydrogen will occur from different carbon atoms. Like we have an example, secondary butyl chloride, CH3, CH2, CHCl, CH3 plus alcoholic KOH. This is secondary butyl chloride. In this case, we have a mixture of two isomeric alkenes. The first is 2-butene, CH3, CH, double bond, CH, CH3, it is 2-butene, which is more stable. And the second one is CH3, CH2, CH, double bond, CH2, that is 1-butene, and which is less stable. 2-butene is more stable, while this 1-butene is less stable. Now, the mixture will contain the more stable alkene in the predominating quantities. Now, what is the reason? We have studied in the relative stabilities of the alkene that more the number of the alkyl group attached to the doubly bonded carbon atom, more is the stability. So that means 2-butene is more stable as compared to the 1-butene. Now, जैसे कि हमने अभी स्टडी किया था that the more alkylated alkene around the double bonded carbon atom is more stable as compared to this, which is again more stable as compared to R2C CHR. Next is R2C double bond CH2. Again it is similar to RCH double bond CHR, which is again more stable than RCH double bond CH2, which is more stable than the ethylene alkene. So it will represent the order of ease of formation of alkene and the orientation of dehydrogenation, dehydrohalogenation. This mechanism can also be studied in terms of transition state theory. Like, if we have an alkyl halide like this, In presence of a base, an alcoholic base, there is a formation of transition state like this. There is a formation of bond between the base and the abstracted hydrogen. Breakage of this CH bond, formation of the double bond between the carbon-carbon atom, and then the breakage of the carbon-halogen bond. And next step is the formation of alkene. N halide ion plus water. That means the transition state. This is the transition state. The transition state will have an alkene character. So it will easily convert into the alkene. And we know that a more stable alkene have lower activation energy. That means more stable is the alkene, more stable it's the transition state, and it will have the lower activation energy, and the transition state can easily convert into the stable alkene. Next is the Sayzoff rule. It's the Sayzoff rule. Sayzoff rules gives a generalization to predict the orientation and on the basis of the relative stability and the ease of formation of alkene. Now, what is the Sayzoff rule? According to Sayzoff rule, if an alkyl halide undergo elimination in two different ways, forming a mixture of two products, then the preferred product is the alkene, which is more highly alkylated at the carbon bonded carbon atoms. That means when an alkyl halide can undergo elimination in two different ways, forming a mixture of two products, then the preferred product is the more highly alkylated alkene. That means if we have an example like 2-butene and 1-butene, in this case this 2-butene is more alkylated at this double bonded carbon atom, so it is more stable as compared to this 1-butene. So this is the Sayzoff rule. Next topic under this mechanism is the relative stabilities of alkyl halide in dehydrohalogenation. Next topic is the relative stabilities. Now for a given alkyl group, the relative stability follow the order this, then RBr, then RCl, and then RF. So the order of stability of the alkyl halide in case of dehydrohalogenation follow this order: Ri, RBr, RCl, and RF. That means there is a much more difference in the electronegativity of the alkyl group and the iodide. So it will be this iodide ion will be easily removed from the alkyl halide. For the given halogen atom, given alkyl group means the R group remain the same. For the given halogen atoms, that means the halide group will remain the same, but the alkylated part will be different. So the order is tertiary alkylated group, tertiary, then secondary, and then primary. Because in this case, on going from tertiary to secondary and secondary to primary, the carbon atom carrying the halogen atom will have lesser branching. In tertiary, the branching is more. In secondary, the branching is lesser as compared to tertiary. And in primary, there is no branching. That means more branching implies the greater number of hydrogens. Greater number of the beta hydrogens around the C double bond C, and greater number of halogen atoms which can be easily attacked by the base. That means the higher probability for the attack of the base molecule. That means more branched alkyl halide will lead to more branched alkyl halide will lead to the greater number of hydrogens, and more branched transition state. That means the more substituted or more alkylated alkenes, which is more stable. So in case of secondary, the branching is less in comparison to tertiary, but lesser number of hydrogens, lesser number of beta hydrogens, and then lesser branched transition state, and lesser activation, somewhat higher activation energy as compared to the tertiary transition state, and the less substituted alkene. But in case of primary, there is no branching, lesser number of hydrogen atom, and the higher the activation energy for the transition state is higher, and that is why the lesser stable alkene. The second method is the dehydration of alcohol. Dehydration of alcohols. Now dehydration of alcohol is what in which the alcohol is heated with the sulfuric acid or phosphoric acid, or passing the vapors over heated alumina. The alcohol will converted dehydrated to form the alkenes. Like we have an example. So in this case, heat in presence of acetable acid the resulting product is an alkene. Like if we take ethyl alcohol, CH3, CH2OH, 96% sulfuric acid, highly concentrated, heating to a temperature around 433 Kelvin, and the resulting product is ethylene plus water. Next is the mechanism. What is the mechanism for this dehydration of alcohol process? Now dehydration of alcohol is a unimolecular reaction. It's a unimolecular elimination reaction. It follows E1 mechanism. Dehydrohalogenation of alkyl will follow the E2 mechanism, while dehydration of alcohol will form the E1 mechanism. E stands for elimination and 1 for the unimolecular. Now, what are the steps for this mechanism? The first step for this mechanism is, like we have ethyl alcohol, CH, H, C, H, H, OH. The first step is the protonation of the alcohol, and this is a first step. First step, this alcohol molecule will get protonated. OH, H positive. In the second step, this is the protonated alcohol. Protonated alcohol. plus water molecule. In the second step, there is a removal of water molecule from this protonated alcohol. Again, it's a reversible reaction. It is the slow step. So there is a removal of water molecule and we get a carbocation. This is the carbocation. In the third step, the carbocation will lose a proton it's a reversible and fast step to form the alkene. Plus hydronium ion. So all the three steps in this mechanism all are reversible in nature, but the resulting alkene, it is more volatile as compared to the starting alcohol. That is why it can be easily driven out from the reaction mixture. So it is more volatile. That means the reversible reaction will move toward the forward to form the alkenes. Now in this step, the dissociation of this protonated alcohol, it requires the supply of energy, and the supply of energy, it comes from the solvation of carbocation. Solvation of carbocation will produce considerable energy, and that energy is used for the deprotonation of this bases. नेक्स्ट वीडियो में हम एविडेंस पढ़ेंगे विच इज इन सपोर्ट ऑफ दिस मैकेनिज्म. थैंक यू.